Masechet Bekhorot, page 24. We are 12 lines from the bottom of the page. Everyone knows the Jewish people are prohibited by our Torah law from eating pig, pork, but is that possible? Certain species that used to be called in that name, is that possible that some of those species are permissible? We're going to discuss it later today. Since we talk animals, the love that we recognize as human between mother and its offspring, can we take it to another level and evaluate the love between mother animal and its offspring? Such as, if there is a case, and in Talmudic times apparently it was a cases like that, that's the way both the Rambam and the Code of Jewish Law illustrates, it was possible that some animals that appears like a pig, all of a sudden nursing from a mother goat, mother ewe. And as you know, we have general concept that something hayotze min tahor, something that comes from source that is ritually pure, it should be pure. But here you see a total different animal that somehow nurse from the other animal. And the question is that really the mother pig, or this is something else? So we're in the middle of this sugya, and let's go in. Amar Rabba בר חנא אמר רבי יוחנן, ראה חזיר שכרוך אחר רחל, פטורה מן הבכורה. ואסור באכילה, quote, עד יבוא ויורה צדק לכם. Here, the Gemara analyzes a case. The name of the rabbi that presented is Rabbi בר חנא. On behalf of Rabbi Yochanan, he said, if one saw a young animal resembling, ostensibly speaking, looks like a pig that was trailing after a ewe, which is a female goat, right? The ewe is exempt from having its future offspring counted as firstborn, and the pig-like animal is forbidden for consumption until he comes and instructs righteousness to you, the prophet Hosea said on chapter 10 verse 12, meaning until Eliyahu the prophet arrives and determines the halakha. Wow. So let's talk about it. First and foremost, apparently in a Talmudic time it was matsui. As we said, the Shulchan Aruch, the Rambam discuss it, and apparently you don't see it much today. As we discussed yesterday, you have a fellow Jew that purchased a ewe from an idol worshipper. All of a sudden, he see a baby, an offspring that appear like a pig. Now, there is a special responsa. It's called She'elot Utshuvot Yad Eliyahu, that he has a lot of chakira, a big discussion over teva shel chazir, what exactly the nature of animal that we considering nowadays a pig. And he argued that there are those similarities and differences between which we call some species of dog and some species of pork, pig-like. And from our sugya, and also from the Gemara we study in Tractate Chulin, page 109, Famous story, remember that? The Ilta, the wife of Rav Nachman, she, for some reason, asked her husband to eat pig. And obviously, with no doubt, it's not the forbidden pig of our days. So the Gemara said that he brought her dag shibuta, special species of fish that it's very ambiguous. It's very unclear what does that mean in our days. But apparently it was Baal Chai Kasher. It was some type of animal that was kosher that carried the taste of that pork. Now, some said, one of my friends is a Israeli veterinarian, he called it kfila arma'ah. The Shach on the code said that this type of masoret le'ikuva, meaning that this is a problematic and therefore we should not go there. But what you see here in this sugya, ra'a chazir shekaruch achar Rachel. So a person recognize something that appear like a chazir. So they said chazir shekaruch achar Rachel. You see here some apparent as a chazir that was trailing after the u. So again, the way Rashi presents, and you see other mefarshim, we do not know if that u, that Rachel, already have a offspring. So he hold that this u ptura mina bchora, meaning Rashi explained that the offspring that come out afterward, it's exempt from the rule of the firstborn. So basically Rabbi Yochanan, as we learned yesterday, hold that Zachar sheteled, the offspring male that u deliver it doesn't carry the sanctity of the firstborn, because if we have a situation that pure animal under category brings out a impure, like the u deliver something like pig, so they said that in general we know that chazir asur ba'achila, that the pig is prohibited to eat. Now he brings a very fascinating pasuk in Hosea. The pasuk said, ad yavo, until he comes. So what is he? Here you see a machloket, a disputation between Rashi and Rabbeinu Gershom. According to Rashi, is until Eliyahu Hanavi, Eliyahu the prophets arrive and determine the halacha. And the way that the Mefarshim explain, it's not as a prophet, because we learned Bava Metzia 59 that it's not in heaven, but it's also Gadol Batorai was a great Torah scholar, Eliyahu Hanavi, and therefore he, Betor Chacham, as a sage, give instructions and teach us, the Maratz Chayut said, what exactly the halacha. Now, also Rashi over there in Hosea said, Niru lachem nir, which means that's the beauty of Talmud Torah, that the milchama b'yetzer hara, one fights against his or her evil inclination, is by tavlin haTorah, by study Torah. That's basically the way to fight against evil inclination. But Rabbeinu Gershom hold that that's bi'at Mashiach tzidkenu. Rabbeinu Gershom said that's not applied. The he here applied to Messiah and not to Eliyahu Hanavi. But anyway, if we know, hypothetically speaking, that it's 100% chazir, so as we learned in the past in Chulin and other places, hayotze min tahor, tahor, that someone comes of the animal that is kasher, that is pure, so it should be pure, but because is such ambiguous situation, therefore we left it for Mashiach, Eliyahu Navi, etc. Now, the Gemara brings a contradiction to Rabbi Yochanan's statement. Ptura mina bchora keman keraban Shimon ben Gamliel. So they said that on the one hand, the U is exempt from having its future offspring counted a firstborn, which is in accordance to opinion of Rabban Shimon Gamliel, that an animal that nurses from another is presumed to be its offspring. Ve'asur ba'achila kerabanan. But on the other hand, the pig-like animal is forbidden for consumption, which is according to the opinion of the sages, that an animal might nurse the young of another. Second question, vetu, and furthermore, if the halacha is accordance with the opinion of the sages, and there is a concern with regard to the identity of the mother of the offspring, ikerabanan, if you tell me that it's follow the Rabbanan, the Chachamim, that it's safek, it's uncertainty, maybe it's the offspring of the U, my ad yavo v'yoret tzedek lachem. What exactly the meaning of this pasuk until he comes, he, Eliyahu Navi or Mashiach, right, comes and instruct the righteousness to you? By citing here, the Braita is indicating that the status of the pig-like animal is a halachic uncertainty that can be resolved only by either Eliyahu Navi or Mashiach Tzidkenu. Instead, ad sheyivada lacha davar mibaile, it should have stated until the matter becomes clear, lucid, known to you, in reference to the this situation that we find an answer to the uncertainty. He used the word veyoreh. Rashi said that the moment you understand and you know, so you can rule. V'chiteima, and if you tell me that Rabbi Yochanan has these predicaments, the quandary, mesapkale i halacha keraban Shimon ben Gamliel i kerabanan, he's not sure if the halacha, since that pig-like nurse from the mother U, if the halacha follow as Rabban Shimon ben Gamliel, or according to the sages that it's a not like, but it's a real pig. So therefore, that's the whole idea of Yoreh, that we're waiting for the future one to instruct us. If we follow Rabban Shimon ben Gamliel and it's permitted for consumption, or according to the sages and it's prohibited for consumption because maybe safek, maybe it's not the offspring of the Rachel. That's the way Rashi explained to us. So therefore, we have an issue. I misapkalei amai patur min abchora. If the matter is uncertain, then why is the U exempt from having its future offspring counted a firstborn? Right? Because so we should have a concern that maybe that U never deliver anything ever, and just like, in that sense, that pig, which means that the offspring that the future Rachel deliver, if it's deliver a male, it will be safek bechor. The two, and furthermore, is the question of those opinion is accepted as the halacha and uncertainty misapkalei. So Rabbi Yochanan mesupak, ואמר רבא בר חנא אמר רבי יוחנן, כל מקום ששנה רבן שמעון בן גמליאל במשנתנו, הלכה כמותו חוץ מערב וציידן וראיה אחרונה. So we learn whenever Rabban Shimon ben Gamliel taught a halacha In the corpus of our Mishnah, the halacha is according to his opinion, except the following three cases. One is Gemara and Bava Batra 174, the responsibility of the guarantor, if you remember we studied it, and the incident that occurred in the city of Tzaidan, that's Gemara and Gittin 74. And the third one is the dispute with regard to evidence in the final disagreement, that's the Gemara in Sanhedrin 31. So it means that clearly he followed that ruling, that the halacha follow Rabban Shimon Gamliel in Mishnah. So therefore, the chazir is for sure the offspring of the u, and therefore it's permitted for consumption. So the Gemara said no. Actually, Lo'olam pshita le halacha ke Rabban Shimon Gamliel. Actually, it is obvious to Rabbi Bar Chana that the halacha is accordance with the opinion of Rabban Shimon ben Gamliel. Mihu mesapkale isavar Rabban Shimon ben Gamliel yoledet merachemet or ena merachemet. It's uncertain if Rabban Shimon ben Gamliel hold that an animal that is giving birth might be merciful toward offspring that is not its own, or if he hold that it's not merciful towards the offspring of another. So Rabbi Yochanan hold if an animal deliver its own offspring, obviously it's a strong mental, emotional connection between the mother animal and its offspring. The problem is, what in the world the reason that that animal nurse of other animals' offspring? So he said that if it never happened, meaning that animal, that would never deliver a offspring, is very unlikely or even impossible, you may argue, for her to nurse a offspring of another animal. The merely fact that it's meinika, that mother animal who nurse a pig-like, it means that one time it was a delivery of her child, or you can argue and you said it's her own. So therefore, yoledet merachemet or ena merachemet. That's the issue. That if they have the mercy or doesn't have a mercy. The big question is, if you say that it never be, meaning if she never deliver, so the argument is that is no such a thing, mercy upon others, or you said it's possible. So he said, ihache, if that's the case, ad ashminan chazir, until we talk about what? A non-kosher animal, he should inquire as to whether or not lishminan taleh, one is a flag for it due to violating a prohibition against slaughtering a mother and its offspring. Ulemilke alei mishum oto ve'edno, mother and his offspring on the same day is prohibited, so therefore he receive malkot. So the Lechem Mishneh and many others said that the whole idea here is the metziut, if this is something that's possible. But anyway, the Gemara respond and explain, Chazir itzrichalei, it's necessary for Rabbi Bar Hana to teach this case of a pig. The Ashminan Taleh, if he taught a case involving a lamb, Hava Amina im timtza lomar de savar yoledet merachama, even if you say that Rabban Shimon ben Gamliel holds that an animal that is giving birth might be merciful toward the offspring of another, this is so only with regard to its own species. But with regard to an animal that is not his own species, it will not show mercy and will not nurse the offspring. The mina, the lo mina lo, ashmainan chazir, ואפילו דלאו מינה היא. דאיקלמי מרדילמה מרחמנה. So we derive here, we teach us that a case like a pig, to convey that an animal might be merciful, and this is also true even where the offspring is not its own species, as it could be said that perhaps the animal was merciful in such a case as well. V'hainu de'amar Rabbi Yochanan, and this is the meaning of what Rabbi Bar Chana said to Rabbi Yochanan said, Ba'ei, a dilemma was raised. 24b, Achai berebi. Achai berebi, Rashi tells us, Adam gadol v'chashuv bedoro, meaning a very erudite and very respectful, distinguished person in his generation. Ra'ach hazir shekaruch achar Rachel, mahu. Here, question, if one saw an animal with appearance of a pig that was trailing after a cow, how you treat it? What's the halacha? So now the Gemara zoom into that question. And again, according to the Rambam in Shulchan Aruch, as we said several times, apparently that was common in those days. Anyway, my kami bayale. What is the dilemma that we are asking here? Ilema, if you tell me livchora, the question is if the offspring that come out of this you're asking if it's a possibility to be under the law of the firstborn. Vekami bayale, and the question is hilcheta keraban Shimon ben Gamliel, hilcheta kerabanan. If the halacha follow Rabban Shimon ben Gamliel, that this, in a way, next offspring is not Bechor, is not firstborn, or by the Chachamim, by the sages, that the next Vlad, the next offspring is a firstborn, because it's a Safek. So according to Rabban Shimon ben Gamliel, for sure that offspring doesn't have the halachot of Bechor, because he said that animal, as we said earlier, that never, loyal dan, never deliver a next generation, no way that nurse any other animal offspring. Versus the sages said, the Vlad Haba, the next offspring, is Safek Bechor, is a possibility, it's uncertain possibility that it's a firstborn, because according to Chachamim, the sages, even an animal that not Yalda, not deliver an offspring, still possible to nurse a offspring of another animal. Remember studying it. So at that time, my Chavrusa pointed out the famous story in the Torah, lehavdil, with Miriam. You know, Moshe Rabbeinu, she took it, ha'elech v'karati lach meineket. Anyway. So tibaya le'taleh. So let this predicament be raised with respect to the more common case of a lamb, rather than the irregular case of a pig-like animal. So the Gemara said, Mi kami baile. Achai berebi has a quandary, a dilemma with two manners. Liv chora, if this Rachel, if this exempt from the firstborn, ve'aliba de Rabbanan, and that safek, that uncertainty is bedat Chachamim, in the view of the sages. La'achila, when is a possibility for consumption? Consumption is totally, and this aspect of the dilemma was raised under the assumption that the halacha is according to the opinion of Va'aliba de Rabban Shimon ben Gamliel. So in a way the Meforshim said that the Chai Bereb did not intend to ask to whom the halacha follow, he just want to have clarification to each opinion. So now the Gemara expand on that. Livchora, here require with regard to the offspring, firstborn status. And the question applies even according to the sages who say that the animal might be merciful toward the young animals. So they said, when you talk about compassion and mercy, it's applied to the animal that its own species. De lamina lo, but to a young animal that is not of its own species, a mother animal certainly does not show mercy. Therefore, the fact that it's nurse proves that it is its own offspring. Or Dilma, or perhaps you can say, an animal might also be merciful toward an offspring that it's not of its own species. Dilma de lamine name merachma. So if that mercy only to its own species, the ur is exempt from having its future offspring counted as a firstborn. If its mercy extends to the other species, then it is not exempt. So the Gemara said, La achila. So, and Achai, Rabbi, the distinguished, also inquire with regard whether the pig-like animal is permitted for consumption. And the question applies even according to the opinion of Rabban Shimon ben Gamliel. If you say he holds that an animal that was giving birth might be merciful, a nurse mother, another mother's offspring, perhaps that it's so only with regard to an animal that is of its own species. Demina, de lav mina ala, or dilma, de la mina name merachma. Same way, and you left it, teiku. So anyway, that quandary, that predicament of Achai Berebi, when it's come to Chazira Karuch Achar Rachel, a pig-like that follow the U, it's basically makbil, the same to the safek, to the quandary of Rabbi Yochanan earlier in the view of Rabban Shimon ben Gamliel. Mishnah Kedosha. Before we go to the Mishnah, just some word of introduction. Our Torah Kedosha said, Lo tagoz bechor tzonecha. We have the mitzvah of the firstborn, applies to our flock. So the Torah said it's prohibited to shear the firstborn. Bechor tzonecha, clearly statement in the Torah. Now, the pasuk is in Dvarim, chapter 15, verse 19. Applies, according to Rashi and other Mefarshim, the firstborn that carries a blemish, swell, also applies, as we learn on page 14, for those animal that was sanctified for the mizbech, for the altar. Rabbi Yosei ben Hamshulam Omer, השוחט את הבכור עושה מקום בקופיץ מכאן ומכאן ותולש את השיער ובלבד שלא יזיזנו ממקומו. If you remember, when we study מסכת חולין, we learn this as halacha למשה מסיני. It's a tradition from Moshe Rabbeinu in Sinai. We talk about chulda, chalada, which is chisaron bashchita, meaning one of the 5 things that made the shchita invalid, make it pasul. So it's like putting a kofitz, a little cleaver, עושה מקום בקופיץ מכאן ומכאן. So it means that you have this cleaver that it's a large knife, and we allow to clean the hair all around in order to do the shechita properly. And Rashi said that the chidush here that allowed to do it prior to the shechita. Tosfot disagree with Rashi. Tosfot said, בגמרא אמרינן תנא לקופיץ, כלומר לצורך קופיץ, משמע דרך לשחוט בקופיץ מדלא קטנה בסכין, ותימה בפסחין בפרק ולדברים לא משמע כן גבי סכין, etc. etc. Tosfot disagree with Rashi. And anyway, they said here ותולש, so that thereby plucks out the hair. He may clear space in this manner, provided it does not move the pluck hair from its place. It must remain intermingled with the rest of the hair, so it will appear that he will not shear the animal. And then the Mishnah Kedosha finished by saying, Vechen, and likewise, same way, תולש או התולש את השיער לראות מקום מום. One who plucks the hair to enable one of the sages to examine the place of a blemish and thereby determine whether it is permitted to slaughter their firstborn outside of the temple courtyard. So, mutar litlosh, in this circumstance you're allowed to do it, in order to clarify it if it's a mum kavua. So, mum kavua is a permanent blemish that mutar lishchot bekol makom, can do the shchita everywhere, versus mum over, if it's a transient, temporarily, so lo ra'ui lishchot. That's the whole idea Chok Natan explain of expert that needs to see it mumche. Big question is that lechatchila or not lechatchila? Amar Rav, halacha keRabbi Yosei ben HaMeshulam, if with the shnei dinim, with the two important halachot in our Mishnah. Ba'u minei meravuna. Kenegdo biyom tov ma'u. So the sages ask this question before Ravuna. What is the halacha in the parallel case of one who wishes to slaughter a non-sacred animal on the festival? If you remember, when we study Masechet Beitza, the very beginning of Beya, we learn the rules that davar she'efshar la'asuto me'erev yom tov, anything that we can do prior to festival, such as ktsirat chitim, which is doing the cutting the wheat, or melachot that similar to that. So asur la'asot b'yom tov, you cannot do it in a festival if you can do it prior to that. So you ask a question, the Gemara elaborate, Ta'amad Rabbi Yossi ben Meshulam, that he allowed to do this cutting of the hair of the firstborn, mishum de kasavar tolesh, lav hainu gozez, because he hold that when clearing hair with a cleaver, so that plucking is not the same as a shearing, and as opposed to plucking the hair of a firstborn, and it is prohibited to pluck hair on the festival of Yom Tov Asu, the Havele, because it's considering what? Oker davar migidulo. It's like considering a uprooting an item from its place of growth. Now, the Isur Murchav, the expansion of that prohibition, if you go by the way that the Torah expresses it, we have on Shabbat v'Yom Tov not only the prohibition of avot, but it's also the subsequent the toladot. So when you're uprooting something, akirat davar migidulo, when it's come to animals, that's tolada, that's subsequent of melechet gozez. Now we should know that the difference between tlisha and gziza in Hebrew, it's when it's come to using a utensil, that's gziza. When it's come to using the hand, Rabbi Ben Tura explained, that's tlisha. So therefore, even tlisha is not part of gziza, shearing that prohibited in the firstborn. It's part of the prohibition of doing melacha on Yom Tov. That's the way Tosfot explained on page 25. But it's important to know that both Ma'arit al-Ghazi and Minchat Chinuch say that that's toladat melechet kotzer. Anyway, di odilma be'alma ksavar Rabbi Yossi ben Amshulam tolesh hainu gozez. Or perhaps in general, Rabbi Yossi ben Amshulam holds that plucking is considered a form of shearing, and therefore we are prohibited to do that, or when it's come to firstborn, tolesh hainu gozez v'hainu tama desharei. And this is the reason that it's permitted to clear space with a cleaver in a case of a firstborn. Dehavelei davar shein mitkaven, because it's considering as unintentional act, which is an action performed for a permitted purpose, for which a prohibition labor may inevitably ensue, since he does not intend to pluck out the hair. וביום טוב דבר שאין מתכוון מותר, and the festival an unintentional act is permitted. Some put it as a question mark, some put it as a statement. Anyway, the whole idea of דבר שאינו מתכוון, when it's not intent or not necessarily happen that tlisha, that some of the hair will come out, it's the idea that it's not psik reishe. And therefore, דבר שאינו מתכוון, as we learned earlier, both in Shabbat, in Beitzah. So, in short, the Gemara asks if allowed to do it on Yom Tov, lefanot se'ar, to clear it when there is an animal neck prior to the shechita. So it's important to know in Tosfot here, just to get the little vignette of Tosfot, we don't running a little bit out of time, but Tosfot said in דיבור המתחיל והיינו טעמה דשרי דהבה לדבר שאין מתכוון ותולש דמתניתין לאו בתולש ומתכוון כאמר אלא עושה מקום אם נתלש נתלש. So it means that it's not psik reishe, because it's come in that place in the hair that may be alul להתלש. Tosfot later on is a long Tosfot. He is done b'mashma'ut mitkaven. He is dealing a lot with the meaning of what exactly you meant to say intent. Because, you know, we're not fooling ourselves. We need to know if someone tried to use artifice or to fool, cannot fool the Ribbono Shel Olam, right? They cannot fool yourself first with this. So what exactly, it's unintentional. Tosfot have a hakira here over that. But anyway, Rav Huna respond, Amar lehu zilu shayu al Rav Hananel. Amar alacha ki Rabbi Yosef ben Amshulam efshot lechu. Says, go by the source. Always we said, go to the source. So he said to them, go and ask Rav Hananel. Rav Hananel was a student, a disciple of great Rav. And he needs to clarify in regards to the hora'ah of the ruling of Rabbi Yosef ben Amshulam. If he said on behalf of Rav that halacha follow Rabbi Yosef ben Amshulam, I will go ahead with that. Otherwise, you cannot do it. That's Yad David, the book, expand of this, the Dea Safek. But anyway, Atu Shailuha, they come and ask this question, Rav Hananel, student of Rav. Amar lehu, he respond to them, Hache Amar Rav, that's the way Rav respond, Halacha ke Rabbi Yosei ben Amshulam. Okay, said it. Atu lekamei de Ravuna. So they came before Ravuna. Amar lehu, kenegdo beyom tov mutar. So in the parallel case of one who wishes to slaughter a non-sacred animal on a festival, it is permitted to pluck the hair in order to facilitate proper slaughter. Rashi tells us that's because it's davar sheino mitkaven. In the next Talmud, right? Rashi said, Mishum de tama shen mitkaven. So, bilvad, it's important to know that b'matrat shchita, what exactly the goal of this shchita, alul baderech lashir se'ar, it may happen that while he's doing that, some hair will left. But anyway, you see in the Rambam in Ilchot Yom Tov, chapter 3, that one may pluck, Rambam rules that one may pluck out the wool of an animal he wishes to slaughter on the festival, provided it does not move the hair from its place. That place basically follow the view of Ravuna. The Shulchan Aruch, or Achaim 48, you see also Magen Avraham there, deems this prohibition and rules that one may only push the hairs out of the way on each side. The Rema adds that this should be done by hand. So that's according to the opinion of Rosh and Tosfot, that the hair of a firstborn may be puckled only unintentionally. So the Gemara brings a support to the view of Ravuna. Itmar nami, Amar Rav Hananya bar Shelemya mishmei derav, kenegdo beyom tov, in the parallel case of one who wishes to slaughter a non-sacred animal on a festival. 25, mutar, so it's permitted to pluck the hair in order to facilitate proper slaughter. So the Gemara raised a question. They said, Umi amar Rav hachi. And does actually Rav say this? V'amar Rav Chia barashi mishmei de Rav, mischoria de nazyata asur la'aduke biyom hatava. Said is when you have the cloth stopper of a barrel, it is prohibited to insert it tightly into the spout of the barrel on a festival, because in the process liquid will squeeze from the cloth, and squeezing liquid is prohibited on Shabbat and Yom Tov. So as you see here, Rav prohibits even unconditional actions, and basically it follows that it is prohibited to clear hair with a cleaver on a festival, as one will unintentionally pluck out some hair. So the Gemara said, Behahi, afilu Rabbi Shimon mode. De Abaye veRava de Amrit Ravayu mode Rabbi Shimon, bepsikreishe velo yamut. So when you have a prohibited labor is an inevitable consequence of an unintentional act, so when you have a clothes stopper, some water will inevitably be squeezed out. So the Gemara objected, Amar Rav Chia barashi amar Rav alcha keRabbi Yehuda, v'Rav Hanan bar Ami amar Shmuel alcha keRabbi Shimon, v'Rav Chia bar Ravin matne bela gavre, Rav amar alcha keRabbi Yehuda, ושמואל אמר alcha keRabbi Shimon, אלא לא סבר רב דבר שאין מתכוון אסור, ותולש לאו היינו גוזז, and plucking is not considered from a shearing. וביום טוב היינו תמה לשאר דאב לעוקר דבר מגידולו כי לאחר יד. So it's uprooting an item from its place of growth in unusual manner, and performing a prohibited labor in an unusual manner is not prohibited by Torah law, but it's more important to know that by the Rabbanon, the Bur Alachain Taf Tzadik Chet said about the Rabbanon it's prohibited, and the Rambam in Ilchot Yom Tov even expressed it in chapter 3, said clearly that it's prohibited. But anyway, the issue of the Rabbanon. So the Gemara asks, ותולש לב היינו גוזז, והתניא התולש את הכנף והקוטמו והמורטו. So we learn in the Braita, one who is unintentionally plucks a large feather from the wings of a bird on Shabbat, and one who snips the tip of the feather, and one who pulls out the thin threads that constitute the feather, is obligated to bring 3 sin offering, 1 of each transgression. והתניא התולש את הכנף והקוטמו והמורקו חייב 3 חטאות, ואמר יש לקיש תולש חייב משום גוזז, קוטם חייב משום מחתך, ממרט חייב משום ממחק. So Reish Lakish said that one who plucks the wing is liable to the labor of shearing. One who snips the tip of the feather is liable to the labor of cutting. And one who pulls out the thread is liable to the labor of smoothing. Shanekanav the Hainu Orchei. The Gemara explained that plucking a wing is different from plucking hair, as that is a normal method employed to remove feathers. The Hainu Orchei.